and it's like I don't think these are the ways to get them.
Yeah.
I think once you're established, these can get you a lot of views, but I don't think it's the way to get new views.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The
Even
best
the guys
ones,
that I watch that are established, I don't watch when they're like doing live views on there.
no, but the live you will then post, kind of like how I post these ones.
Yep.
But it's just not a lot. Like these get like below average views. They get like, let's see, I'm trying to look.
That's because Hades isn't on here.
Yeah, dude, some of those don't get a lot either. It's weird, man.
Really?
So like, yeah, so like the first video I posted of him, I'm pushing almost 1,500 views on it. I got one with 227. I got one with the lowest is like for a non-short is 39. But the ones with Hades do get a lot more views. Like his casting one, I'm pushing almost 500. His duck search intro is almost 300. They're just slow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like continuous views over time. But I think right now, like if you YouTube Drothard Puppy, I think the first like at least 4 or 5 videos are mine.
Nice.
Which I think that's the way it is right now. I'm never sure if I do it on mine, if it's like gonna show me my stuff over somebody else's. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure if you type in like Deutsch Drothard Puppy or even just Drothard Puppy, it's a lot of mine pop up.
Let's see, Drothard Puppy.
Yeah,
if you type in just Drothard Puppy training, let's see what pops up. I had to scroll down. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're the 5th video
for puppy training.
Yep, and then
if you type in Drothard Puppy, mine's the first video that pops up.
Yep, you're the first one.
I'm also I got my duck search one.
Your steady to flush short is on there as
yeah,
for 5th one. Then you're on you're the 7th one. They definitely mixed in there.
Yeah, which is where the views are gonna come from.
Yep. Bless you.
Thanks, dude. So hopefully they trickle in, man. It's just like, I guess technically my sub rate's like 1% right now, which is I think the norm. It's just 1% of like a little bit is not a lot, you know. But even that's not true because you figure 1%. If it was at 1% of my like puppy size adventure video, I should have received what 150 subs.
Yeah.
So from just that video, so that's definitely not the case because on average, I think right now. So in the last 28 days, I've got 1,604 views, and so I'm getting like 0.1% sub rate, man. So
yeah.
I'm getting about an average right now of 1 a day. So because I'm at 115 now, I was at 110. I think 110 on Monday or Sunday.
That's not bad. I'm excited my camera gets here on Saturday, according to UPS tracking.
You got the $50 one?
Yeah, it's a refurbished Akaso V50 SE or Pro SE. So
yeah,
it's right in line with like a kind of like a GoPro 7 Hero. So
as long as the camera's okay. They're all, I mean, even like the GoPro like 3 is, the quality's fine when the lighting's good.
Yeah, that's just the big thing always, right?
Yeah, it's the lighting, and then it's going to be stabilization.
Yep. Yeah,
And then
this one has 6-axis stabilization.
yeah, and then if the audio is halfway decent, like it's an action camera, so it's never going to be great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might be able to get like an aftermarket audio setup for it, but
you can get a microphone. They have specific microphones for them, and they're only like $10-$20 or something like that, so not super expensive.
yeah, mine doesn't. Like I think there's a way to get one on it, but apparently it's kind of janky.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't think the audio is that bad with it.
I don't think so either. I was watching your fishing one the other day, and it was the most recent one. I think that is your wife, when she's recording you, is she using your guys' Osmo, or is she using a phone or something else, or your guys' because you got a DSLR, right?
Yeah, but that DSLR has no external audio.
Okay, so you guys are just using your Osmo.
Yeah, so I'm either using the action cam, or if it's like really, really impromptu, it'll be her her iPhone.
Okay, which one does she have? Because you guys' videos looks really good when she's recording. In my opinion, I mean, I'm not a.
So she, I think, has the. I want to say it's like the 8 or the 9.
Does she?
No, it should be the 8, I think. But the problem is so sometimes the videos look kind of grainy, and those are coming from her phone, and it's not because the Apple is shooting bad video. The issue is that she transfers it to me. So here's how it goes. She'll record it on her phone. If we know we're gonna record, and she doesn't just like decide to record, I'll hand her my phone.
Yeah.
Which is a Samsung Note 9, I think. So the problem when she records from her iPhone is she records from her iPhone, then she has to transfer it to me. So we usually use Signal to transfer it to me, right? So it gets, I don't know, like condensed or adjusted or whatever the case is, right?
Yeah.
It's sent to me through Signal. Then I have to download it, which then reformats it.
You know what you should look into? I mean to cut you off, but you know what you should look into is a wireless, like a Wi-Fi hard drive.
Yeah.
You can get those powered, and then you can just she can dump whatever while you guys are out on there.
Yeah.
And be able to just pull whatever you needed to, and that way you'd have it without having to try to transfer.
Try to do that.
Yeah.
Well, so even with like the actual, just using my phone, if you look at like the YouTube shorts, a lot of them end up fuzzy too, because the phone will condense it and format it to best fit it, and then it has to get formatted into like YouTube's format.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they'll show up and they'll be like kind of blurry or grainy, but if you look at it on my phone, on YouTube shorted, it's perfectly clear. You know, it's not 4K or whatever, but it's like 1080p for sure.
Yeah.
And you're like, why did it do this? Same with Instagram and some of the other ones. So the quality just drops, especially on the shorts. I don't know what the deal with that is. Yeah, so I try to use and then the problem with the action camera is they're a wide angle lens.
Yeah.
So stuff seems far away, but it's not.
Yeah.
So like on the last one, I think where Hades was, the last one Hades pointed, I think that was.
You're steady to hold short?
Yeah, steady to flush.
Oh yeah, steady to flush.
Yeah, so that one looks like super like fuzzy, but it shouldn't, because it's not on my phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just through the multiple formatting.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife and I actually just upgraded to the 12 Max because we were available for upgrades, but they actually have these camera kits that you can get for your phone. Have you seen those? So I take a case. You got to buy the case for it. It's a specific case, but then on that case where the cameras are. They have these little lenses that you can actually put on the case that attach hard to it.
Yeah.
So then you can they have like film maker lens kits and like all these little lens kits that you can get, and they have ones that'll let you zoom out a little bit farther. They have other ones that are like that let you get like way close, so you get like super fine detail on like a close-up picture. Those are only a couple $100. So that was my plan. That is my plan, is get the action cam, get a lens kit for my phone.
Right.
And then then can start doing a little bit more. Action cam was really the big thing. That's why I don't have a lot of videos right now, is because I'm like, I don't have a way to like record what I'm doing, and I don't.
A tripod in your phone, you can get a lot done.
Yeah.
But you're risking. I've risked a lot with mine before, man. Like putting the tripod in the stream or the creek with my phone on, and you're like, I hope nothing hits my phone. And I mean, they're waterproof, but
I have a super cheap tripod right now that I wouldn't trust my phone on.
Yeah, I got you.
I might buy a decent one. Maybe like one of those gimbal pro things or whatever. It's got like a small tripod on it. I don't know, but I don't have a lot of faith in the current tripod I have. So.
Well, I just broke mine, so there's that.
Oh, that sucks, dude. How'd you do that?
I don't know. I put it in a like Pelican case, and then I saw that so the tripod's fine. It's the phone attachment part, like the clampy part, broke. So I got to buy a new one of those. But that'll be on something I need to buy, but a phone won't be for a while. Like I want to get that new Samsung S21. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, where it's
like you can take multiple videos at the same time and just edit it while you're doing it. It's pretty cool, but with all this dog stuff and camping stuff, like a $1,500 phone is not on my to-do list when there's nothing really wrong with my current phone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with
what do you got to get for your camping stuff then?
What do I still have to get?
Yeah, what do you still got to get for that?
We should be pretty close. Today I bought a dog medical kit, like a field trauma kit for the dog. Honestly, it's just some small stuff left now, like the food and everything like that. I think we've got pretty much everything else purchased. So the trip to Montana has been very expensive because it's been a lot of initial buying. So like the next trip we do won't be bad, right?
Yeah.
Because we'll have, outside of perishable goods, we'll have everything. But like we wanted technically, did we have a tent? Yeah, we had a 4-man tent. There's nothing wrong with it. It was just older tent, at the time, like 10 years ago, it was like $100 at Walmart, like a Wenzel tent or whatever. And it was like, it was fine, but there's no storage. You couldn't stand up in it. We decided, hey, we're going to be out there for so long. We decided we might as well be comfortable. So we're like,
yeah, for sure.
We're using old army tent or cots and all that. And then my dad lent us a tent from like the 90s or 80s or something. And it was a nice tent, but it was just a pain to set up, man. Like we set it up, and it was like it's not a freestanding tent. It's a tension tent. So like everything has to be just right or it'll collapse.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it literally took us like an hour to set this thing up. You know what I mean? And we had done it before. Like to get the tent up wasn't bad. To get the tent right so that it wouldn't like collapse with any wind, or to get it so where you could actually stake it down and not rip it apart. That took forever, man. So we had a bunch of stuff already, but like a lot of it was like lightweight backpacking gear. So like and a lot of it was just I had single stuff. So I had like a blow up air mattress for me.
Yeah.
Right. And those are okay. right? They're like ultralight backpacking, but it's like we don't need to do that. Like instead of sleeping on just like a blow up air mattress, why not? I went and bought like a folding egg crate style air or mattress and the cots and all that. So
Yeah.
could we have
Yeah,
gone with a
that's
lot
it.
of stuff we already had? Yes. Would we probably be pretty miserable? Most likely.
So yeah, dude, you're gonna be out there for a month, man. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
want to be comfortable.
Yeah, and we've been
Yeah.
camping a lot lately too. So at
Yeah.
least I guess a lot depends on who's listening or you know what I mean.
Relative.
But like at least once a month we've been camping for 2 nights.
Nice.
Yeah, 2 nights. So which is good because we got to test some of the gear out. We got a bunch of stuff which we needed, so that'll be good. It's just the initial purchase fee, you know. But after this trip, if we do more outside of perishable goods like fuel, food, stuff like that, that's
Yeah.
all we'll have to. That's all we'll have to buy. You know what I mean? So it's not like
Yep.
I'm gonna have to go out and buy a tent every time.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not buying it just for this one trip. Yeah.
No.
You're buying that stuff for
Yeah.
all those times you're gonna go out, do all your testing and stuff. What's your
Yeah.
what piece of equipment aside from the tent did you splurge on the most? Where you like, I definitely have to have a nice thing.
For camping and not the dog.
Yes.
I would. Tent was the biggest one, man.
Yeah.
I would say it would probably be like the cooler.
Okay.
And so I went with like a Yeti style knockoff, which wasn't too bad, but yeah, it's all a bunch of little stuff outside of the tent, man. The tent was expensive,
Yeah.
so
I was
and
expecting you to say you're betting. I was expecting you to say I got a super nice cot.
no, the cot was 2 army cots from down in my dad's basement. So they're like 1980s or 90s army cots. They're not like the X style ones that fold up.
Have you seen those helium or Helinox ones? Have you ever seen them? They're like those little aluminum pole. Like you've seen the chairs, right? The camping chairs, the Helinox chairs.
I think so.
Yeah, they make little cots. And
We're truck
nice.
camping, man. So
yeah,
we were going to take my 250 to Montana, or not 250. We were going to take the Ford Ranger to Montana.
Yeah.
So there's some pros to it. I got new tires on it. It's a small little truck, like it's a single cab. The downside is that it's small. So while it's maneuverable, it's not 4-wheel drive. So it's only rear wheel drive, and it's a 4-cylinder. And the biggest issue isn't so much like the space in the bed of the truck, because we had that pretty much narrowed down. Like we wouldn't have been able to take as much of a cooler as we want. Like I wouldn't have bought the cooler I bought. The biggest issue is honestly the fact that it's a single cab.
Yeah.
So the seats can't recline. You know what I mean? So you're talking to get to the Montana border. This is impossible, right? But to get to the Montana border from my parents' house in Pennsylvania, if you were to not stop, it's 26 hours. Yeah, right? And not being able to recline back and take a nap is
brutal.
Yeah, it's not really cool. You know what I mean? Like if it was just me, who cares? Because I can't just recline and take a nap while I drive.
Yeah.
But if you have a second driver, the way I look at it is it'll let us power through a little more without being miserable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we can swap every 3 hours, and you can lean the seat back, relax, and take a nap or whatever the case is. You're not.
Yeah.
Or even if you're driving, you can move the seat as needed, but with the Ranger you really can't. So, and then the 250, So we're gonna take my dad's 250 instead, so we can do that. And then the other benefit is I should be able to put Hades' kennel in the truck cab itself.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of relying on the battery for his fan and just the breeze coming through, he'll be in the air conditioning.
Yeah.
It'll open up the entire bed for us, and then the truck has 4-wheel drive. Downside is it gets like horrible gas mileage, so we're probably going to pay double in gas mileage, but
yeah,
we're not paying for hotels, right? So
true.
And we'll have all that bed space for stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then with it being that big too, if there's like a freak hailstorm or it's just abnormally windy, or for some reason like we're not setting the tent up that night because it's just not like conducive to setting up a tent.
Yeah.
You know, lay back one of the seats, go to sleep, get in. Somebody can crawl in the back of the truck, go to sleep under this, the camper shell or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but the good thing, like you said, is we'll have all this stuff, which is kind of what I wanted to like legit talk about, was that normally, like without having the camping gear, what I hadn't done, and I don't think you did it either, and I think what a lot of people do is if they're going somewhere to hunt, not like distance-wise, not like driving to Montana or something like that, but they'll wake up at like, they'll leave the house at like midnight.
Mm.
Or they'll get up and be like, well, I got to leave the house at 2 to get there because I have a 4-hour drive in the morning, or whatever the case is why not just camp? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a very valid point. And I've actually tossed around getting a one of those like mattresses that you could blow up and just put in the back seat.
Yeah.
And that way it's like takes up all the floor space, and it just has these big pillow things, and then you lay the mattress on top of it, and then you have like a whole bed in your back seat. And I've thought, because the same thing, like if I want to go out west to the mountains or whatever, or even go up north for a few hours, like I don't want to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning just to start my drive. Like it'd probably be earlier than that, because if I 2-hour drive up there, let's say it's middle of hunting season up north, I want to go up to the Virginia border.
Yeah.
It's a 2-hour drive for me. I want to be in the stand by 6. I have to leave the house no later than 2, or probably.
Yeah, it's miserable, man. And
then
you're like
4 o'clock. Yeah, I don't math well in public.
No, I got you.
But yeah, so I'd have to leave no later than 4, or probably about 3 to get there, get in the stand and everything. So
yeah,
it'd just be miserable.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
Yeah,
and I've done a couple times. I've never done it when I was by myself, for whatever reason. You know what I mean? It's always like, well, I'll just get up and drive.
Mm-hmm.
But in Tennessee, I did it a couple times with a buddy for deer hunting and once for duck hunting, and I don't know why I didn't do it more. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So from Clarksville to Land Between the Lakes, where I did this, the duck hunting time was about an hour and a half drive, right? And then, so you got an hour and a half, you got a back plan from sunrise, right? So whatever time sunrise is, hour and a half. And that's to show up at sunrise.
Yeah.
Then you've got to figure the amount of time it takes you to get up and get ready in the morning. So day of hunting, you're talking 30 minutes, maybe. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's 20. It's like, I'm not even going to brush my teeth. I'm just going to jump in the car and go.
Yeah.
But usually that it also involves, like, especially when you're with someone else, usually that involves a stop at the gas station.
Mm-hmm.
You're picking up some crappy food and a coffee or an energy drink or something. Then don't forget you got to put in your time to set up decoys and get to your actual spot, right? And you got to beat people there, like all that stuff. You know what I mean? So that hour and a half.
Who are camping right now? when you're trying to wake up in the morning.
Yeah. So it was nice because like there was nobody, like we would have heard if anyone showed up, right?
Mhm.
Now obviously you have to check your laws, but we were in a camping area. We got our camping permit through LBL and everything. But we were, I think, maybe a 300-yard walk to where we were hunting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we woke up, I think, legitimately woke up like 30 or 40 minutes before sunrise and just walked over.
Yeah.
Instead of waking up at 2:30, 2 in the morning, you know, to drive out there and just be miserable and unsafe.
Yeah.
So my plan is to do a couple more like that, or to do some of that this year. Especially like Maryland Maryland's not a huge state, but it's got this weird split in it where you have to go like, if you want to get to the Eastern Shore, you have to go like over to the east and then down. If it was a straight drive, it would only be like, you know, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't because the Chesapeake Bay is there. So instead of getting up and doing that, that's my plan. And if it's just me and the dog, my plan is to just utilize the Ranger camper shell.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And just, he can be in his kennel inside of there. I could fit next to it and we're good to go. Right.
Yep.
But I also have like, I wouldn't call it an ultralight setup, but I have like a one man, it's like it's a Eureka tent and they're only like $80. So they're not like the lightest one man tent. Like if you went with like a Nemo or a Big Agnes or one of those like big name brands for one of their ultralight backpacking tents, it's probably going to be like 1.5 pounds lighter, maybe 2 pounds lighter, but it's also going to be literally like 5 times the price. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, I got that tent I could use or whatever. But I think it's going to open up some opportunities because I'm not waking up at midnight when I usually go to sleep at 10. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to kill myself to do it when I could just get off of work, drive, get set up, drive, get there at midnight or at 11 or 10 o'clock at night, whatever the case is, and then go to sleep. Like either way, you're still not going to get a ton of sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's
like,
more, and it's probably going to be better. It's just more enjoyable experience if you're not having to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, because nobody likes waking up at 2 in the morning.
No,
like, even the Instagram people who say they do, they don't like doing this shit, man.
Yeah, that's the worst part about hunting is having to get up early in the morning.
Yeah, that's why I sleep in the rest of the year. But yeah, so I think it's a good option, and I don't think enough people do it, which is fine. You know, like I'll do it.
Do you think it's that they don't do it because they're just not into it, or do you think they're not doing it because of access? Like, what do you think the cause is of them not doing it? Just because it's not something.
I think it's just because, man. I think sometimes you just forget it's an option. You know what I mean? Like, it's either that or they want to spend the night at the house or something like that. You know, but if you're looking, like I can look back at some of the past places I hunt. If you hunt, say Friday and Saturday, so like a lot of the East Coast states, well, that's not true. A lot of this, you guys can't hunt Sunday, right?
We actually just passed. Well, North Carolina just passed a law. They opened up 45 game lands for Sunday hunting for starting this year.
Not universal.
No,
like you can't just go hunt
everywhere.
Sundays.
No.
So I think it's
specific game lands.
I think it's North Carolina to like Pennsylvania, like in that range. Because I know Maryland, West Virginia, you guys, some of those you can't hunt Sundays.
Yep.
But I would hunt like my Saturdays and Sundays in Tennessee, and that was a lot of driving. You know what I mean? So, and then you'd be just so exhausted. So I think even to answer your question, I think I don't want to say it's like laziness. I think it's I don't think people consider it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think maybe part of it is that now it becomes an all day thing. You know what I mean? Like if let's say it's a permission thing, and I don't mean like landowner permission, I'm saying like maybe you're like spouse permission.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, well, yeah, you can go hunting on Saturday, but if you're camping, now you're going Friday to Saturday or Saturday to Sunday, or maybe maybe the deal is like they can hunt in the morning, but they got to take care of the kids in the afternoon while
Yeah.
the wife and the mom does whatever. But I think even if you were like, I think it would be worth taking camping stuff with you, even if you weren't going to stay overnight. Like there's been a lot of times where I've just been like, I've done full day hunts, but I've gone home in between. Like I would go out and duck hunt or deer hunt in the morning, drive home the hour and a half or the hour or whatever, and then go back out or go somewhere closer. Maybe it's only like 30 minutes away and do an evening hunt.
Yeah.
So like, why not take a hammock or take a tent or, like you said, that like seat bed.
Yep.
Might not work for me, but if you're a midget, I suppose it would work. But
it's just my size.
Yeah, but why not take something like that and sleep in the slow period? You know what I mean? Like you're exhausted. So instead of like pounding Bang energy drinks or whatever the flavor of the year is, you know what I mean, and caffeinating yourself out and crashing, why not just get in the back of your truck or get into basically pajamas and a hammock and rack out for 3 hours?
Dude, last year, there's been a few times I've done it, but I can think of one specific one. My buddy and I did it. We drove an hour or whatever it is to get to one of the game lands that we were hunting.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, dude, it's going to be an all-day event. Bring your lunch. So we drove out there. We hunted until whatever, 11, 12 o'clock. We walked back to the car. I chowed down on some food. I was like, all right, I'm taking a nap. I just literally just laid on the ground for a half an hour, 45 minutes to just take a nap and just laid right there. And then I got up and I was good to go for the rest of the day. I agree with you. I think makes sense, right? Because you're going to burn yourself out if you keep doing that. And maybe you have to, because that's how you optimize your time, because you don't get a bunch of time. I know that usually plays a role into it for me too. But at the same time, like, how many people out there are climbing up their tree in their summit stand, and then they sit there.
Sleep in it, dude.
It comes around 11 o'clock and they're drooling all over themselves. You know what I'm saying? Might as well get back to your car, get a lunch, and take a nap, dude.
Yeah, 100%. My OG hunting buddy, the guy I restarted hunting with, like deer hunting in Tennessee.
Yeah.
This dude slept on every hunt I've ever been on. Right? Like, I would look over, so we would deer hunt, and what we'd do a lot is we would like sit like 100 yards from each other.
Mm-hmm.
That way I had my 40 yards, he had his 40 yards, and there was like this safety zone for the deer. Not like because that reason, we just didn't want to shoot at each other's if they were in our same lane or whatever.
Yep.
But I'd look over all the time, and this dude would be racked out in his tree stand. Right? We were on a goose hunt in Arkansas, and this dude slept through one of the calls. Like, I'm telling you, like, somebody called, like, take him, and this dude was racked out in his because we were in layout blinds.
Yeah. Right? Oh, dude.
So he would just rack out. Like, I know that him and I have missed. Well, I can't prove it, right? But I would gamble on that we've missed deer, because there were times where I remember, like, both of us were like, "Hey, dude, it's noon," and he'd be like, "Yeah," and I'd be like, "I'm going to sleep," and just like you said, just lay down in the pines on the pine needles and just go to sleep and wake up like 30 minutes later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a part of it too is like when you're talking like hunting season, it's such a big range of dates.
Yeah.
You know, depending where you're at, you can technically start in August. You know, like I think Idaho starts in August for some of their bird hunting. I think North Dakota starts in like resident goose in August. Tennessee has a velvet archery season in August.
Yep.
So in August, you're getting attacked by bugs and you're sweating to death and you're getting tick bombed. And then in January for late duck season, you're talking 10 degrees out or sub freezing.
Yeah.
So I think that might be a part of it too, is that, if you don't have the gear already, it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, it might be one of those things where you've been out in the cold, you've been out in the blind or standing in the marsh or whatever, just freezing to death, trying to stay warm for like 4 or 5 hours. And the last thing you want to do is essentially strip down, put on warm clothes, and get in a sleeping bag to sleep.
But I'm
with you, man.
Best thing ever. Then you wake up, you drink some warm soup,
Yeah,
and a nice hot cup of coffee, dude, and you're gonna be crushing the afternoon, evening hunt.
No, I'm with you. And the thing is, too, is you don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. You know what I mean? Like there's a range of from reclining your seat back in your truck all the way to doing what you've got with a travel trailer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's so many stages you can go in depending on how long you're going to be out there and what you're willing to sacrifice comfort wise.
Yeah.
You know
I think
that's
another point though too, is the comfort thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I venture to say, like I kind of not venture to say, but like it's kind of one of those things where you're like, oh, they're all hunters are like me, like they don't mind sucking and being out in the woods and like going through brambles and like trying to drive through the thick nasty draws, and then you're like, well, but then how many other people are like statistically hunters only walk like 800 yards from their truck or whatever?
Yeah.
So I would almost say that like that's probably a big thing too. Is like those hunters aren't going to be out all day like that, and they're not going to want to be uncomfortable. So they're going to go hunt for a few hours, and then they're just going to leave. And I think that plays a big role in it. It's just like the unwillingness to get uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily blame them either. Like, why be miserable?
Yeah, I agree.
So,
like half the time, I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this right now because this is dumb, and I didn't get anything for it.
Yeah, but I will say that the days that we went, like my buddy and I went camping and den hunting, there was like a lot. It had a different feel to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were at a hunt camp. It's not like like you're out in Colorado in a lodge or up in like Maine at some grouse camp or something like that. But you were going out to like a hunt camp.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got out there, you cooked your food, you got ready for tomorrow, you pumped, you got a fire going, you did all that stuff. You know what I mean? It had a different feel to it because it wasn't like, all right, man, I'll text you when I wake up. Okay, sounds good. I'll meet you at your house. Okay. You know what I mean? And it wasn't this like repetitive, monotonous, like day in, day out duck grind or deer grind or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a different thing. So like
almost like that primal feel.
Yeah. You can get into that whole thing.
Added that a little bit more to it.
Yeah, that, and it was just a different. You know what I mean? Like, so like even if you're not going to do it all the time, I would recommend somebody do it like, once or twice. And I think I like them for like holiday hunts are good. Like, hey, after Thanksgiving, I think we did like after Thanksgiving or after like Christmas or something like that.
Yeah.
I think one of them that my buddy and I did was like literally Christmas Eve. And then the only thing was we had to be back by like noon on Christmas Day or something like that. You know what I mean? And it had this it had a much more sense of purpose to the hunt because it was like, hey, if we get something, we're going to butcher it out in the field. We'll pack it up. We'll have like steaks over the fire. We didn't get shit, but you know what I mean? Like, it had that feel to it. So I don't know. I think price and comfort are probably what and time are probably going to be the three things that stop people.
Yeah, I would agree. I think those are going to be the biggest ones.
Yeah, but I would say too, like outside of just like saving you from like crashing and dying, or being absolutely miserable, I think it's going to open some hunts up for people too. Like there might be areas nearby that you want to go, and by near I mean more than you could do in a day. Like me coming down toward, or us meeting in like Southern Virginia to hunt.
Yeah.
Like technically, could I get down there in a day? Yeah, it's like 5 hours. You know what I mean? But 10 hours of driving, fatigued, plus the day of hunting. You know what I mean? Like why do that? So it can I think it can open up some of those like moderate distance areas too. Like Montana's a far drive, but what about like southern eastern shore Maryland, or what about like the Outer Banks in North Carolina, or hitting West Virginia or something like that, where it's just outside of feasible for a day, but it's also not going to require more than a weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, could we get to North Dakota in a weekend? We could. We'd be driving there and driving back. You know what I mean? You'd get like 2 hours of hunting in, but you could do it if you wanted to. You'd probably die, but you could do it. You know what I mean? But
or just fly.
Or just fly. But that's a whole other story too. That's a whole cost issue. If like the camping's a cost issue, then flying for a weekend's definitely a cost issue.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. I think that'd be that, and that's why I was saying like looking at something like the like that truck mattress or something. I've floated around a few different ideas, but it was all just to go out west to the mountains and some of those game lands that are 3 hours for me, where it's like, yeah, I could, but I don't really want to. Like it's not gonna be enjoyable at that point, no matter what you do, because I don't want to drive for 6 hours after and then be out like walking around all day, depending on what I'm hunting, or like, you know what I mean? Like walking up and down mountains. It's just like, and you don't know the area. So that's a perfect time to just go in, get there, get set up, eat a little something, maybe go glass up a couple areas for a couple hours, and then come up with a better game plan once you get there, especially if it's an unknown area.
Yeah. I think it comes down to too, like a lot of us get in a rut of hunting the same parcel a day in and day out. It produces. Right? Yeah, I do it too.
Yeah.
Like most of us do it. We all have our honey holes, or we have like 2 or 3 areas that we hunt. Like last year for duck hunting, I hunted in Maryland the same square mile or less for 95% of the season when I was in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like if all you're doing is shooting, you can be super successful doing that. But then you kind of, outside of like the birds themselves, you kind of lose the mystique behind it, So I think the traveling aspect gives you that sense of like adventure again, and then proves like, are you actually good at hunting, or are you good in your spot? You know what I mean? Like, can you go somewhere new with a map recon? Obviously, there's a huge element of luck to it, but can you go somewhere new with a map recon and be successful, or have the chance to be successful, or whatever the case is? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just opens it up, and it turns it back into an adventure. Like there was outside of like the first 2 or 3 hunts on the Susquehanna Flats, like there wasn't an adventure there anymore. It wasn't like, oh, this is new.
Yeah.
It was still cool. I enjoyed every day of it, and it was still varied every time because the birds varied every time. But other than that, it was like, okay, the sunrise is over here, the tides are like this is what I need to do, and it becomes very mechanical after a while, instead of like, this is a new marsh, or like I've never hunted a beaver pond before, or I've never hunted like a big river for ducks before.
Yeah.
Whatever, flooded timber, rice fields, whatever the case is, and that the camping or small road trips can open that up. And then another thing too is like, I'm making this stuff, but like 90% of hunters probably drive an SUV or a truck. You know what I mean? Like,
I would venture to say that is a very close.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, up until last year, I hunted out of a car, but most of us hunt out of a truck or an SUV, which means buy a camper shell, right? Which I like them. I like them better than an open cab anyway.
Yeah.
But if you get yourself a camper shell, or if you have an SUV, you probably drop in the seats anyway.
Yeah.
So now you've got a mobile tent right there.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't have to go out and buy a tent and cots and all this stuff. Like, you can literally take your pillow from the house, a bunch of old blankets, because everyone has old blankets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take a bunch of old blankets, put those down instead, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
100%. So
yeah.
It just opens up your options, especially within your state. Like, if money is the issue, then all you're doing is fuel. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to buy, especially some of the bigger states or longer states. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to buy another license. You're just staying in North Carolina. You're just going to the Appalachians, or you're going to the Outer Banks, or you're going, to some swamp or something like that, and you can cover more of your state. So that's kind of what I want to do. So the biggest issue I'm going to have this year is Hades, and that's not the issue for like camping or whatever. It's the issue for the Susquehanna Flats, right?
Yeah.
So last year, started hunting on the flats out of the kayak, which a lot of people thought was insane, but I wasn't like the only person doing it. But out of the kayak, and that's strictly like anchored down. And I don't know how deep the water was where I tend to hunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not deep, but it was probably deeper than I would want to get out of the kayak for. Like, I might have to swim. You know what I mean? It might be like 6 foot, 7 foot, like that. Or even if it's 5 foot. So the issue comes into play with having him in the kayak. He can't be in front of me because of the gun. I might be able to get him in the back of a kayak, but how do I get him back in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're not the most steady thing. So if he's like trying to crawl in a kayak, is it going to flip a kayak? That's just a recipe for disaster in January.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, there's some areas where I can probably body boot, as they call it here. Like, where it's called body booting, and you're literally standing on the bottom of the flats. And a lot of times, like at low tide, it'll be like a foot deep, half a foot deep, or whatever, right? And you just stand out. Basically, you're just waiting.
Okay.
And I can probably find some areas, because I got like a cheap depth finder for a kayak, small boat or whatever. I can probably find some areas like that. But the problem is like, you drop it on OnX or on Google Maps or whatever, and it's pretty precise, but that's what, probably a 10 by 10.
Yeah.
When it gets you down, and 10 meters to the left might be 6 feet at high tide, when where you measured it out was 3 feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I need to take essentially like a trailer behind the kayak with the decoys, and a stand for the dog and all that.
Yeah.
So where I was getting with all this was that there's a lot more marsh available in the eastern side of the state.
Okay.
So I can get out there. They require permits or whatever the case is, and you can get reservations for them, and it'll be a lot of going in blind, right? Like, I'm not going to be able to go and scout it the day before because it's a 3-hour one-way trip or whatever. But the marshes and the lakes and the ponds and stuff like that, I can hunt Hades off of.
Yep.
Which is the priority, is getting him on birds this year, right? Over anything else. So, and experiences. So if I have to drive 3 hours out, I might as well drive out the night or day prior. Depending on when I get off of work, maybe I could get a chance to glass. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if it's like, if I was able to leave like on a 4-day weekend, or take a half day or something like that and get out there. But otherwise going in blind, but the chance of getting something still probably decent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of because of the dog, a lot of the methods that I'm used to doing are going to not really be options, like the river floats. Like I'm not going to go through some rapids with the dog on the back of the kayak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he can swim better than I can, but if he falls off into rapids, he's probably not going to make it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not without
Yeah.
getting banked up. So, I mean, I'm still going to do some of those, like, but they just won't be as frequent. Like maybe next year I'll do like 1 or 2 river floats, or if I get like an afternoon off, I might hit the flats, or if I have like a random day and I couldn't draw a tag or something, like not a tag, but a reservation, or like I just see like the flats are loaded with canvas backs or something and the dog needs a break, then I'll probably go out by myself for a couple hours, but it won't be like every day on the flats, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going to need to have the option to be like a mobile camper and get after it. So we'll see. And I know you probably have that plan too with your travel trailer. So
yeah, that's one of the big things that helped me to be more willing to purchase it. Was to go out and just bring my wife or kids, if they're still with us at that time, depending on what time we get to go out and do all that stuff. But like probably a couple of years from now, I'll probably plan a long hunting trip somewhere out west and just go for a month or so. And it's definitely nice to be comfortable. I don't need to be that comfortable, but she wanted it, and I would like her to be there. So it's really
but why not be comfortable?
Yeah,
like
it is definitely nice. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna lie about it. Like
and you sleep better. Like the better you sleep, the more rested you are. And yeah, that's not a big deal if it's like a 1 or a 2 day trip. But like you said, when it's a month long, you don't want to be exhausted every day.
Yeah, and when I retire, my boys will have a few years left at high school, a couple years left of high school. And then when they're out of high school, we plan on like hopefully being able to sell our house, put our stuff in storage, and literally just live out of our trailer for an undetermined amount of time while we build a house or look for where we actually want to end up settling.
Yeah.
So I mean, we started now, and that thing's already it's nice.
How big is it?
It's from the tip of the tongue to the end, it's 29 feet.
It's pretty big.
And it is. It's pretty nice. It gets a little cramped because we have 2 dogs one of them is about 95 pounds and the other one's about 60 pounds, female. So it gets a little cramped in there. But it's definitely worth it because you're right. Yeah. It's way more comfortable. Like I love sleeping in a tent. I love hanging my hammock up between some trees, but those long trips are going to be nice to be in that thing. So that's why I was like, that's what you want and to get us out more. I'm okay with it. So, it's gonna be nice. And like you were saying, like if we, drive up to, we meet up somewhere in Virginia, like it's, I can take that up there for the weekend and, you know what I mean? Like live out of that for the weekend.
Yeah.
Be, a lot better. So, it's nice. But again, if it's just me, I'm going out wherever for a couple of days, and it's only a couple hours away, and it's just like a night or 2, chances are I'll still end up just sleeping in the back of my truck or something like that. Not bothered towing that.
Why not?
Yeah, but it's definitely nice.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you, man. That'll be good. And then the downside to that then is you're like hauling your canoe or kayak, right?
Yeah, so my kayak will fit. I mean, it sits on top, so I have my bed's open right now because it's easier for me to get my canoe up there, or my
Yeah.
kayak. I'm
Yeah.
a wee little guy, so I need a little bit of extra help. I
Right.
can't put it on top of a camper shell. And the Ranger is a super short bed, and my kayak is 12 feet, I want to say.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that was just kind of really was like not much of an option. Plus, I have a tool bed or toolbox back there because I have like I have like I have a net back there. I have a couple other, like emergency things. I've got, my hunting boots back there and just a couple other like hip weight. I got a pair of hip waders back there just because you never know, right? So, and I can't keep it inside the truck because it just takes up all the space, and I get sick of taking it in and out if I got my boys. So like my fly rods, I can just move to the center and put my little pack in the center between them. But like if I got all that stuff in there, it's just a pain in the ass trying to get it in and out. So
Yeah.
I bought a toolbox and some ladder racks. So I can put that on top of there and then I can still pull my, the travel trailer with a truck. It's not too bad. So
Yeah, it's easy enough. I got to figure out how. So the way Hades' kennel is in the truck right now, I can't fit. I can't fit the kayak.
yeah, I was wondering how you were going to do that. Those are
Yeah,
going to be my big questions: is how you're gonna transport your kayak and how you're gonna transport Hades when you get to the water with your kayak.
So I don't know yet. Like I think I might honestly need to get a trailer for the kayak.
You should just get one of those like a little 5 foot by 6 foot, maybe 5 by 8 enclosed trailers, and just turn it into a small camper and just have like
I've
your
100%
little
looked at doing that.
your little base operations.
Yeah, those are cool, man. But I want to get. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, but I got to figure out for like this year. I think honestly, if we build we were gonna build a deck for the Ranger, which would which I'm not gonna. Probably still gonna do it, but not for Montana. For taking the other truck. But the biggest issue is the way his kennel goes in the center of the bed right now.
Yeah.
It's not like this huge kennel because the way the attachment points are, and he has to go in the center, and then you have there's 2 ratchet straps, but they come out on each side.
Yep.
Make an X or whatever. So like majority of like large areas taken up, right? So I might be able to do it where I can slide his kennel to one side and maybe ratchet it in. But if we do a bed, we're going to do some eye bolts straight down, and then you can ratchet it straight down, and those won't get in the way.
Yeah.
Then it might be able to fit. If I'm just hunting on the flats nearby, it's only a 7-minute drive. I'd probably honestly just put Hades in the front seat with me.
Yeah.
Have him sit down. But anything further than that, I wouldn't. It's not safe. So I'm not 100% sure. But one of the things too is that I don't necessarily need a kayak to hunt. Now that I have the dog for some of the stuff too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I shoot a bird and it goes into deep water, I'm just going to send the dog after it. Or like if we're in the marsh or whatever, if it's somewhere he can't like stand in the water or like put like the only brand I know is like Mo Marsh. They make like a lab seat for the water. Like if we can't put something like that out there for him, we're not going there anyway. You know what I mean? And if it's a shallow marsh, I could like those dudes like Freelance and some of them do out in Kansas. Like the dog could be in the back of the kayak there. But I don't know of too many places like that where I hunt, So it'll probably be a lot of from the shore. The kayak would just be a transportation device. So I'm not really sure, man. I've got until October. There's some duck hunting that happens. It's pretty short, but I've got till November to figure it out. So, and then since I have him too, my time's there's a lot of woodcock available too. So it'll be like, do I go duck hunting or do I go woodcock hunting or pheasant hunting? It's gonna. I don't think the time's gonna be 100% taken by duck hunting anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's a versatile dog, so I got him to do all of it. Like, if I just wanted to only duck hunt, I would have got a lab.
Yeah.
Or a Chesapeake Bay retriever or a Boykin, even though they're like versatile. They're all versatile, but like that's what I would have went with.
Yeah.
You know,
they're a little bit more specialized.
Yeah, I got like 100%, like even with him, and I had no experience hunting over him, obviously. But like a guy, I don't know if you follow him, Duckalope Outdoors. His name's Chris. I met him here at Aberdeen.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to get a dog, and he pretty much duck hunts. Like, he's a duck hunter.
Yeah.
Like, more than I am. Not like more hardcore or blah blah blah, but like that's pretty much all he does is duck hunt. I told him, I was like, just get a lab, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're the champions of that style of retrieving. You know?
Yeah.
They seem like you can get them trained to a higher standard quicker because they're just obedience based. You know what I mean? Like, they aren't doing an independent duck search. You're guiding them in and getting them to shoot out like a laser and come back.
Yeah.
But I got the Draught because I want to do upland, I want to do fur, and I want to do duck still. Like, I don't want to change what I like to do. I want to enhance what I like to do.
Yep.
So, you know, it might be maybe go out in the morning and duck hunt, then go out in the afternoon for stalked pheasants. We don't have any wild pheasants in Pennsylvania. They're put and take. Or the same, like go out in the morning for woodcock and then hit an evening flight of ducks, or, you know, just maybe just hit one of them and then rotate through depending on what's best at the time, what the migration looks like. You know what I mean? Like, if the ducks just aren't there, then I'm not going to hit the marsh. I'm going to go and do something else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to. Like, duck hunting is a lot easier to do without a dog than upland bird hunting is to do without a dog. You know what I mean? Like, you almost have to step on the damn things to get them to fly, and there's a lot more luck. And, so there's plenty of places where I could go without a kayak, but yeah, a lot of places I hunt, you still need it for transportation. So I got to figure it out, you know? But it shouldn't be too hard. Like, anytime I go with my dad, he's got a kayak trailer. We just strap them together. So I'd probably get a kayak trailer, and then not this year, but maybe this year, but probably next year, look into getting a more team-based, and team like Hades and I, like team-based kayak, like one that's like super stable.
Yeah.
There's some of those kayaks that are like, I mean, they're slow as shit. That's the problem. So the kayak I have right now is pretty quick. The one I use, it's a thin kayak. It's stable enough. Like, I've never been worried about falling out of it. Like, I went bow fishing on it today, and by bow fishing I mean paddling around because I didn't see anything to shoot at. But I was able to sit on top and fold the seat down and get high without having to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some of those ones that they're really wide and so stable you can stand up and rock the thing.
Yeah.
If you had one like that, like I think like the H12, like the Ascend H12 is like that.
Okay.
Where it's like super stable, but the problem is they're slow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, talking to old Duckalope about the spot we both mutually hunted before he left, was he like, it takes me like, you know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to paddle out there. Well, in the kayak I have, it's like 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sacrificing some speed for stability is going to come into play. And then that's when I'd worry about like a dedicated trailer.
Yeah.
And then it's got to be portable too. So that's a whole another thing. But like, there's some really nice big options, but they're heavy as shit. You know what I mean? Like 100 pound kayak. And it's like, okay, that thing's 100 pounds. I don't want to drag it across the road, so you got to carry it. Then you got to pick up all your gear, put it back in there. You know what I mean? Then you got to portage it to the area. I got to get the dog with me. He's a puppy. He's not trained to heel yet or anything like that. So it's going to be a process. It's going to be a learning experience. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know how it's going to work. I got to figure it out. I don't want to strap it to the roof of the truck with the fiberglass camper shell, and then it's a mid-rise one, so it angles up. So it has space.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't work too well either. It'd be all wonky and scratching up I'd scratch the hell out of the top of the truck doing that, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out, man. It's gonna be a lot of figuring outs, but I don't think it'll be too hard.
It's good that you're gonna figure all this out now. So, in 3 or 4 years when I'm getting my dog, you'll already know exactly what I need to get.
Yeah, and then I'll have a second dog and I'll have to figure all this out. So, because once my thought process on it, man, is like, I know we talked about it before, is once Hades is at least intermediate, if not a finished dog, is when we'll probably get a second pup. Right?
Yeah.
That way, and it's not a replacement dog, right? And it sucks. Like you probably do it with your dogs, but once you get like your hunting dog, whatever breed you end up going with, it'll probably be a drought after hunting over Hades. But after you get whatever breed you decide to go with, and you're like, you have a 6-month-old puppy, and you're like, I'm gonna have to put this guy down one day, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not like you're not looking for like a replacement dog. It's keeping like always having a finished dog on hand.
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of like looking at him like a tool in that regard. But it's why, like, as much as I wouldn't mind getting another dog, because I grew up with 2 dogs, and I like having 2 dogs.
Okay.
But you don't want to have like a NAV. We'll use NAVDA terms. You don't want to have like a NAVDA natural ability dog and a NAVDA UPT dog, right? Because then you're like trying to teach them all these basics, or you want to have your finished dog. Like, you want to have a utility test dog that you know is good, it's broke, it's huntable, it's obedient, and everything like that. And then you want to get your NA dog. And then when that dog gets to its intermediate stage or finished, then you get another one. Because by that time, your first dog's going to be probably retired. You know what I mean? He'll be an old man. He'll be like 13 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
Not going out and doing big hunts,
Yeah.
That way it's not like, if you only have that one dog, when that dog goes, you have to start all over, and you'll have seasons where it won't be like, I'm going to go out and like hammer them today, It'll be like, well, this year, again, I'm taking the year off basically to train the dog. So I think or people just make that excuse because they want to have a bunch of dogs. I haven't figured it out yet. I think it might be a little bit of both. Of like, maybe that's just their rationalization of like, well,
why not?
Yeah. So I'm not sure, man. Definitely a thing. So we'll find out. We'll get you. Hopefully we can get. Last year went bad because of COVID. Not that either of us had. Well, but not that we had it at the same, like at that time, but just like vacation time process.
Yeah, just the ability to travel because of COVID.
Yeah, it got shut down a little bit. So hopefully this January we can link up. That's the plan. We've got to plan the dates.
Yeah.
And when our luck, it'll probably rain or be horrible, but we'll be comfy in the camper trailer.
Hell yeah, we will. I'm gonna bring my travel trailer up.
Yeah, man. And then we can go from there. And hopefully, I got to look into it, man. You got to research it too. But like, what the like woodcock migration looks like for North Carolina.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking by January they're gonna be pretty relatively south. So they'd probably be in your neck of the woods or further south by then.
Yeah.
And with it being mostly like you guys are mostly pines, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea like what the habitat would look like if they even hit your area or if they go through the Appalachians or what. But worst
Yeah,
case, I mean, otherwise we can hit some ducks and chase some rabbits maybe.
I'd say definitely do some rabbits, some squirrel, definitely some ducks for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna do with like squirrel eyes. Like I don't think he's like gonna bay squirrels like a feist would
Yeah,
or cur, but he'd go pick them up.
I say that'd be fun too. Just
Yeah, yeah.
you never know what he's gonna do.
Yeah. Or we just have him run around and find us some rabbits, man. If you got
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Woodcock doesn't start. I'm looking at it right now until the 10th of December.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Yeah, because
they're
up here it's
probably
October.
yeah,
So that's probably like when they start trickling down your way.
yeah. I'm guessing they're gonna be a little bit more out west. But I know grouse is definitely out
Yeah,
west.
grouse is
Like
out west.
we're not going to get any grouse where I'm at, but we might
No,
be
but
able to get some woodcock down.
well, they migrate, so
Yeah,
they're a
pheasants,
migratory bird.
pheasants somewhere maybe. I don't know.
Unless you got like purposely stalked. I think grouse and woodcock are your only upland. Maybe you got some bobwhites down there, but they're probably
We do have quail down here.
yeah. But I don't think they would share the same habitat as ducks. The woodcock might because they like that soft, moist soil.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't matter, dude. Even if it's just ducks and rabbits, that's cool with me.
Oh yeah, some fishing.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows how cold it is?
Shit, I've caught fish down here in January.
Yeah, or we could shoot ducks.
I mean, like, why can't we do both? Do it all, everything.
Yeah,
We're gonna turn it. It's gonna be a whole bonanza.
yeah, man. Yeah, have you ever gone? Can you jug? Can you jug in North Carolina?
So when you're talking about jugging, you're talking about like putting the big. A lot of guys use the pool noodles around the PVC and just
Yeah, yeah,
throw
yeah, yeah.
up to 75 of them at a time. I can have out on the water.
Have you ever done it?
I have not yet.
Dude, it's super fun, man.
I want to.
Some of them, it's fun. So the best is when you're doing a river, like a slow moving river.
Mm-hmm.
That
So you can limb line. I think I can have the same amount. I have to have them marked.
yeah, limb line seems kind of boring though.
Yeah.
So, because that you're gonna drive up, check them, blah blah blah. With the jugs, you see them go down. It's like a massive bobber, and then they run,
Yeah.
and you got to go chase after them.
Yeah.
So I need to get.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I need to get down there sometime in like May or June, and we need to go hit one of the big lakes and throw out a couple jugs
Yeah.
and just paddle around in kayaks.
Yeah, I would say that's my issue is I have a kayak, and
Nope.
when I'm gonna be on those big lakes. So if that thing runs too fast, I don't know
Oh,
if
dude,
I'm able to catch
they're not like freaking cruising.
Yeah, they're not like barracudas. They're not gonna
No,
just
no,
like.
no, no.
I know. I haven't yet, and that's really the main reason is. Well, a couple of reasons is. Oh, excuse me. On Fort Bragg waters, you can only have 2 lines in the water at a time, and that
Other waters in
includes.
North Carolina.
I know, but most of the water that's close to my house is all Fort Bragg water.
Well,
And
that's why we'll just
then-
go camping.
And then to get up north, I need to start looking
Yeah.
at some of those lakes. But yeah, I haven't been out on one of those big lakes in my kayak yet, to be honest. I need to get out there and try it out, but
I got you.
there's so much water that's close by. It's like why go up there? But
Well,
I need to because I need to be duck hunting on those waters this coming
yeah,
season.
yeah.
Try to get out on some of those.
We'll look into doing a catfish trip, maybe next summer or spring.
I would come
Well,
down in the spring. Summer's
yeah.
gonna be too hot, dude. You got a
Yeah.
reverse cycle down here in the summer. My mom came down, or her husband came down for a little bit, and they were just like
Miserable.
disgusted. They're like, "Why
Yeah.
is it so hot? Let's go fishing." It's like, all right. Try to go
Yeah.
fishing later in the day, and they're a little bit older, so they didn't want to like stay up too late. But so I felt bad. But it's like, well, I'm not gonna go in the middle of the day because it's 100 degrees out right now. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing that. And then we go out and the sun goes down, and I finally started getting some bites. I think I actually told you about my getting broke off on that night, and all the bugs started coming out, and they're like, "Oh, we're done." And I was like,
Yeah.
this is what it is in the South in the middle of the summer, dude. Like, you can't.
Right.
You got to go out at night or super
Mhm.
early in the morning and just deal with it, or you just don't do that in the summer in the middle of the
Yeah.
day.
I Gotcha. We'll plan one out, man. We'll
Yeah.
go jogging, dude. If you've never gone, it's fun, man.
Yeah,
We'll do that.
sounds like it.
Because then when the thing is you hand line them. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
you see that thing go down, and then you pull them up with your hands, and it's fun. It's a lot of
I
fun.
believe
You
it.
mix the baits up, and you throw them out there, and it's super lazy fishing.
It'd be fun though. I think
It's
it would
fun,
be
man.
fun. I wanted to try it. I just,
You
like
just
I said, I just haven't
Got to
gotten
make
it.
sure you don't have so many that you can't like maintain them. So like I think like for two people, like 10 to 12 is probably a good number
Oh yeah,
of
especially
them.
if you're in a kayak.
Yeah, and you just let them drift around, and you have different lengths of rope on there.
Mhm.
You don't use fishing line. You use like that like crabbing line or that trot line.
Yeah.
You use that stuff with a circle hook on it, or
Mhm.
a standard J hook's okay, but you're going to have to keep everything you catch with those, which can be an issue. Like if a bass swallows your hook or something like that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's not legal, like it's not a legal size or something like that. So circle hooks go far because they just hook themselves.
Yep.
Um,
I if I'm not actually like
yeah,
bass fishing,
yeah,
I'm just like out there catfishing. Like all I use is circle hooks
yeah,
because I usually just throw my line out, go fish along the shore for something
Mhm.
else, and just wait for my bait to get eaten.
yeah. I got you. We'll just camp it up, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
Take the tent or the trailer, go out, do it up.
Hell yeah. It'd be fun.
Yeah. So, all right, man. I think it's like 11:30. So,
Yeah. It's late.
I'm pretty sure we both have to work tomorrow.
Unfortunately.
Dang, dude, I keep dropping this mic.
What are you doing over there?
And my mic's in front of me. I'm on a desk that I wasn't using before, so I have like no idea how to set this thing up.